Greetings, my brittle little bricks. Tonight's episode of Bricks and Screams is all about pride. That warm, fuzzy feeling in your chest that says, I'm better than you. Right before your chest explodes like a poorly glued together minifig. You see, pride makes people do things, terrible things, like build without instructions, or worse, claim they've never stepped on a Lego barefoot before. Pride makes monsters of us all. And tonight I bring to you 4 delicious tales, each one snapping together like bricks of arrogance until the whole thing comes crashing down like a tower in an earthquake. So polish your egos, little listeners. Pull your vanity close like a security blanket. And when you hear that snap in the dark, don't worry. It's just your pride breaking in half. Welcome, gentle bricks, to another evening of spine-tangling tales. Tonight we explore the dangerous foundations of human pride, that stubborn mortar that holds together our greatest mistakes. You see, there's something beautiful about watching brilliant minds crumble under pressure. But first, let's check in on the latest developments from Olive City.
You're listening to Patch Notes from the Void. With me, your eternally embedded anchor, Brickly Mortar, bringing you the latest from Olive City, where every update digs us just a little deeper. Breaking news. A strange fog has returned to Sunbrick Canyon 20 miles west of Olive City. This comes at a bad time for locals, as a recent archaeological dig site has uncovered a mysterious glowing blue star. Locals have been instructed to keep their distance from the dig site, as experts are being brought in to get to the bottom of this mysterious new discovery that could reblock our brick history. This haunted update is brought to you by Caverns and Columbos, the only live stream role-playing saga brave enough to dig through the madness of LEGO Fortnite Odyssey. Watch them build, battle, and barely survive every Tuesday night from 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern at the Long Tom Lounge on both YouTube and TikTok. Bravery is optional, the trauma is permanent. And now for a public safety advisory from the Office of the Minister of Snap Wellness, Dr. Wellbricks. Residents of Olive City are being advised to avoid brick piles left glowing blue. These unstable blocks have been linked to sudden and inconvenient minifig disassemblies. If you spot a glowing blue brick, please contact the appropriate authority. Unfortunately, determining which office handles blue brick hazards is complicated. It may fall under the Minister of Hazardous Studs, the Minister of Structural Integrity, the Minister of Elemental Blocks, or possibly even the Minister of Public Brickness. To avoid confusion, residents are instead encouraged to contact the Ministerial Registry, where a representative will direct you to the correct minister in charge of glowing blue brick-related incidents. Stay safe, snap responsibly, and remember, a glowing blue brick is not a free upgrade piece. It's a trip to Respawn Station. We now return you to your regularly unscheduled hauntings.
Well, my fellow builders, gather round the campfire for a tale that'll make your bricks tremble. For tonight's story, I bring to you the foundation of pride. Sometimes the most dangerous dig isn't into the earth, it's into your own ego. Let me tell you about someone who learned that lesson the hard way. The local crew packed up their tools at sunset, just as they had every day for a week, just like Val had begged her to do so.
Doctor, please.
Val said, his withered hands gripping his hard hat.
The old folks in town, they say that blue light calls to certain kinds of people. Makes them dig deeper than they should.
She laughed, the sound echoing off the canyon walls. 20 years of education, 3 degrees, published papers on ancient burial sites across the world. And this construction worker wanted to give her career advice based on old wives' tales?
Val, I appreciate your concern, but I know what I'm doing. This star could rewrite archaeological history as we know it.
The blue glow pulsed from the canyon wall like a heartbeat. Beautiful, mesmerizing, worth every grant dollar she had fought for. Val shook his head.
My grandmother found one of these when she was young. Started digging around it. Just like you. Found bones. Old bones. But they weren't ancient, Doctor. They were from the last person who couldn't walk away.
That's just a bunch of folklore.
She dismissed, not even looking up from her notes.
I deal in facts.
The crew left. The canyon grew quiet, except for the soft hum emanating from the star. She worked by its light, making careful measurements, taking photographs. The glow seemed to respond to her excitement, pulsing brighter with each discovery. By midnight, she'd cleared most of the sediment. The star sat in a perfect hollow, its geometric surface covered in symbols that made her pulse race. This was it, the discovery that would put her name in the textbooks. She reached out to touch the smooth surface. The moment her skin made contact, the symbols began to move, shifting, rearranging themselves into letters. English letters, spelling out words that made her blood freeze.
Dr. Sarah Martinez, University of California? Grant 2019? What is this? Dr. James Wright? Oxford Expedition 2016? I don't understand. Dr. Alina Vasquez? Sorbonne Research 2021? This just doesn't make any sense.
And then it happened. Her own name appeared last, glowing brighter than the rest. The star wasn't displaying ancient symbols. It was keeping a record, a trophy case. Behind her, she heard the soft scraping of shovels in the dirt. Val's voice drifted from the darkness.
Like I said, Doctor, the old folks know things, and sometimes the earth needs feeding.
She turned, but saw only empty canyon and shifting shadows. When she looked back at the star, one more line had appeared. Lesson learned. Education without wisdom is just expensive ignorance. The blue light went dark. The digging sound grew closer. Ah, poor doctor. Learn that sometimes the oldest knowledge is the truest knowledge. You see, builders, she had all those fancy degrees hanging on her wall, but forgot the most basic lesson of them all. When the locals tell you to stop digging, maybe it's time to put down the shovel. Remember, you can't spell educated fool without dead. And now for a quick and totally fictional ad break. Are you tired of listening to local wisdom? Sick of safety warnings cramping your style? Then you need Hubris brand excavation tools. That's right, our patented ego boost shovelheads are designed to dig through common sense like it's loose dirt. And our arrogance enhanced headlamps, they're so bright you'll never see the warning signs coming.
Just take it from our trusted customer.
Yeah, I thought these glowing artifacts were just pretty rocks. Hubris brand helped me touch everything without asking a question first.
Hubris brand excavation tools. Because sometimes the real treasure is the consequences you make along the way. Side effects may include mysterious disappearances, becoming a cautionary tale, and having your name mysteriously appear on ancient trophy walls. Hubris brand. Dig first and think never.
Welcome back, builders. For tonight's second story, we're trading shovels for silver bullets. The Beast of Hubris, a tale about someone who thought they could hunt the perfect prey. But remember, my fellow builders, when you're tracking a monster, make sure it's not tracking you back. Let the hunt begin. The hunter arrived 3 days after the archaeologist disappeared. He tracked worse than missing persons, Wendigos in Montana, chupacabras in Texas, things that shouldn't exist, but left very real claw marks behind. The local sheriff had called him in desperation, muttering about another one drawn to that cursed star. Professional monster hunters didn't believe in curses. They believed in patterns, evidence, and the right ammunition.
You won't find her alive,
warned Clay, the old bartender at the canyon's edge. His weathered face carried scars that looked suspiciously like bite marks.
That blue light calls to proud folk, makes them think they're special. But there's something down there, something that's been waiting.
The hunter checked his silver bullets, blessed salt rounds, and iron core ammunition. 30 years hunting supernatural predators had taught him one thing. There was no creature that couldn't be killed with the right tools and the right knowledge.
I appreciate the folklore, old man, but I've handled worse than local legends.
Clay shook his head.
That's exactly what she said.
The star's glow was visible from a mile away, pulsing like a beacon against the canyon wall. Perfect bait for whoever was using it as a hunting ground. The hunter had seen similar setups. Supernatural predators were smart, patient. They used lures. He set up motion sensors, night vision cameras, and blessed his perimeter with protective circles. Everything by the book. Everything that had kept him alive through decades of hunting the unthinkable. The attack came at midnight, but it wasn't what he expected. The creature that emerged from the star glow was massive, covered in thick fur, with yellow eyes that reflected intelligence. A werewolf, classic. He'd killed dozens. He raised his silver-loaded rifle, aimed for the heart, and fired. The bullet passed harmlessly through the beast. It wasn't solid. It was a projection, a hologram made of light. Behind him, something chuckled. Human laughter. 30 years, said a familiar voice. The archaeologist stepped from the shadows, her eyes now glowing the same blue as the star. 30 years hunting monsters, and you've never realized the truth. The hunter spun, weapon ready, but his hands were already beginning to change. Fur sprouting, claws extending. The star doesn't attract monsters, she continued, her voice echoing strangely. It makes them. Takes the thing you're most proud of and twists it. You're proud of being a hunter. Now you're the perfect prey. He tried to speak, but only growled. His transformation was accelerating. The blue light doesn't call to just any proud folk, she said, watching him struggle against the changing body. It calls to those who think they're better than the darkness. Those who believe they control what they don't understand. The last thing he saw before his human mind faded was his own reflection in the star's surface. Another trophy, another lesson. The beast that had been a hunter howled at the moon, then padded deeper into the canyon, following the blue glow home. Poor hunter learned that sometimes the biggest monster is the one in the mirror. You see, builders, He spent 30 years thinking he was the apex predator, but forgot the most important rule of the hunt: know thyself. When you're so proud of what you do that you think you're untouchable, well, that's when you become exactly what you've been hunting. Remember, nothing's more dangerous than someone who thinks they're the exception to every rule. Now, for a second quick and completely fictional ad break.
Tired of boring, ordinary prey? Ready to hunt something that bites back? Introducing Monster Bait Premium Service. Our trained specialists will lure you to the perfect hunting ground, using your own expertise against you. We guarantee you'll face prey that knows exactly how you think. Monster Bait Premium Service offers 3 convenient packages. The Projection Plan, face your holographic monster that reveal your true nature. The Transformation Special, become the very thing that you've been hunting. And our most popular option, the Reverse Hunt, where you become the trophy. Warning, Monster Bait Service may result in philosophical revelations about the nature of predator and prey. Results may vary, howling at the moon not included. Monster Bait Premium Service, because the best hunt is the one where you never see it coming.
Now, my fellow builders, for tonight's third story, I think it's time we had a little heart-to-heart. The Architect of Terror. Sometimes the most frightening tales are the ones closest to home. You've been such good listeners, hanging on every word. But have you ever wondered who's really telling these stories? Time to pull back the curtain. The psychologist arrived on Thursday, clipboard in hand, ready to help. Thank you for agreeing to these sessions, Dr. Sarah Vance said gently, settling into the chair across from her patient in the community center. The town council thought it might be helpful after recent events. He nodded, grateful for her kindness. Poor woman didn't know what she was walking into. I understand you've been having some troubling thoughts about the canyon incidents? Feelings of responsibility? It's hard to explain, Doctor. Sometimes I feel like I caused them somehow. Like I drew those people to the canyon. She made a note. Can you tell me about Dr. Martinez? The archaeologist? He wrung his hands. I keep thinking, what if I hadn't been so friendly when she called? She wanted local expertise, and I was so eager to help. Gave her all kinds of geological data, historical records, made the canyon sound so fascinating. That was kind of you. You were just sharing knowledge. But I knew the risks. Local always warned about that blue star. I should have scared her away instead of encouraging her research. He looked down at his hands. Sometimes I wonder if part of me wanted to see what would happen. Dr. Vance leaned forward. You can't blame yourself for being helpful. What about the hunter who came looking for her? Same thing, he said, voice cracking. Sheriff called asking for advice about bringing in a specialist. I recommended Clay specifically. Told him Clay was the best tracker I'd ever heard of. Perfect for this kind of mystery. You were trying to help find Dr. Martinez. Was I? Was I just curious? I gave Clay detailed maps. Told him exactly where to set up. Even mentioned the old legends about transformation. He buried his face in his hands. What kind of person does that make me? A concerned community member who... No, he stood up suddenly. You don't understand. I keep detailed records, Doctor. Every visitor, every conversation, every piece of advice I give them. Like I'm collecting something. She stayed calm. Show me these records. He pulled out a leather journal with shaking hands. 30 years of entries. Look at this one about Martinez. Subject exhibits classic academic arrogance. Will ignore local warnings if research seems significant enough. Recommended emphasizing career implications. Dr. Vance's expression shifted as she read. These sound less like memories and more like experimental observations. That's what terrifies me. What if I'm not just remembering these people? What if I'm studying them, manipulating them? He paced the small room, the canyon lighting system I maintain for safety. What if it's really just for theater? What if the blue star is just LEDs and I've forgotten? Please, sit down. You're having an episode. An episode? Or a moment of clarity? He laughed. But what if I told you that your appointment today wasn't random? What if I suggested to the town council that they needed a psychologist? What if I specifically recommended you because I'd researched your background in treating delusional patients? She was writing frantically now. That would be highly manipulative behavior. Exactly. And the beautiful part is, I'm so good at it that I've convinced myself I'm the victim. The caring local who just wants to help, who feels terrible about these tragic coincidences. He sat back down, suddenly calm. But what if there are no coincidences, Doctor? I think you're having paranoid delusions. Am I? Or are you having exactly the reaction I predicted you'd have? Check your notes, Doctor. Notice how you've been writing down everything I've said? Almost like you're documenting a case study. Her pen stopped moving. You came here thinking you were treating a traumatized man who blamed himself for accidents. But what if you're actually interviewing someone who orchestrates psychological experiments on people exactly like you? The color drained from her face. The brilliant psychologist who thinks she can diagnose the local eccentric, who believes she's helping, right up until she realizes she's become another case study. He opened his journal to a fresh page. Thursday evening, Dr. Sarah Vance predicted behavior. Professional confidence masking, curiosity about unusual psychological presentations, actual behavior. He looked up at her frozen expression and smiled. Exactly as anticipated. She found her voice. What's your name? I need your full name for my report. He chuckled. The sound echoed strangely in the small room. Well, Doctor, most folks around these parts, they just call me the Brick Keeper. The room suddenly felt much smaller. The friendly community center now looked like a carefully prepared stage. And Dr. Vance realized that everything she thought she understood had been precisely orchestrated by someone who knew exactly which psychological buttons to push. You see, Doctor, the most terrifying thing about human nature isn't that people can be manipulated. It's how easy it is to make them participate in their own manipulation. You came here to help the distracted local. But you've spent an hour helping me document your own psychological profile. She stood to leave, but he called after her. Don't forget to submit your report to the town council, Doctor. I'm sure they'll find your observations about my delusional manipulation fantasies very educational. The door closed behind her, and he turned to a new page in his journal. Note to self. Psychologists are surprisingly easy to redirect when you give them exactly the kind of case study they find irresistible. After all, the best students never realize they're enrolled in this class. Well, builders, tonight I bring to you a special bonus story. Sorry for the delay. Had some research to conduct. Tonight we're documenting the truth about Sunbrick Canyon, with our final bonus story, the Sunbrick Canyon Incident. Sometimes the best stories are the ones that refuse to stay buried. But remember, my fellow builders, when you dig for the truth, make sure you're ready for what you find. Let's roll the tape.
The following audio file was recovered from a damaged SD card found in Sunbrick Canyon
The owner, Mason Blockhart, remains missing. Audio has been compiled in chronological order. This is Mason Blockhart, Day 1 investigating the Sunbrick Canyon disappearances for my podcast, Building Mysteries. 7 people vanished over the past decade. All experts, all brilliant, all drawn to some glowing blue star. I talked to Sheriff Bradley today. Says every victim got anonymous tips or some kind of funding. It kinda seems like someone's recruiting them. But who? And why? Day 2 at the canyon now. A local named Clay practically forced directions on me. Even lent me this equipment. Everyone's being too helpful. Jeez. There's the star. Glowing in broad daylight. That's impossible. Unless... Wait, are those cables? Hidden LED rays? Everywhere. This whole thing is... staged. Oh my god. Someone's been putting on a show for decades. I'm back at the hotel now. This is bigger than I thought. Found records going back 30 years. Every victim received help getting to the canyon. Someone's been curating them. Day 4. I found a weird documentary from Jack Studds, a filmmaker who went missing last month, but I found his damaged footage on a file sharing site. Let me play this.
I'm at my hotel. The locals aren't warning people away. They're directing them to the canyon. I think I've been...
Mr. Studds, I hope you're finding everything you need.
Who are you?
Just the caretaker. I provide specialized services for those who think they know better.
Wait a minute. I've heard that voice. I've heard it before. But where? Someone's calling. An unknown number.
Mr. Blockhart, this is the canyon caretaker. I hear you've been asking questions.
You're the one from Jack's recording.
Guilty as charged. You've been very thorough in your investigation, Mason. Quite impressive.
What did you do to those people?
I educated them. The archaeologist learned that wisdom trumps degrees. The hunter discovered that pride comes before the fall. Each got exactly the lesson they needed.
You're insane.
Am I? Or am I simply a very dedicated teacher? Tell me, Mason, what lesson do you think you need to learn?
Day 6. I'm held up in my hotel room. Think he knows where I am. The hotel clerk downstairs keeps smiling at me. Same smile as Clay. It's everyone who's been helping me. They're all working for him. This whole town. One big trap. Someone's at my door. I'm gonna leave this recording running and hide that.
Hello, Mason. Ready for your final interview?
How did you get in here?
I have keys to every door in this town, my dear podcaster. After all, I've been the caretaker here for, much longer than anyone remembers.
The missing people. What did you really do to them?
They became teaching assistants. Very helpful for future lessons. Jack's footage, for instance. Perfect bait for ambitious podcasters who think they can solve mysteries.
My audience. They'll know something happened.
Will they? Check your show notes, Mason. I think you'll find your last episode announced an indefinite hiatus due to creative differences.
That's impossible. I never.
You'd be amazed what you can accomplish with the right technical skills and a town full of very cooperative residents. You see, Mason, you came here thinking you're investigating a story, but you were actually auditioning to become part of one. And I'm pleased to say, you got the part.
Interrupt
interrupting your normal broadcast with a very important missing report update filed for Mason Blocker, age 32. Podcast host, last known location, Sunbrick Canyon area. Vehicle found abandoned. No signs of foul play. The canyon area remains restricted to public access. Case status, ongoing investigation. Residents are advised to keep their pride in check to avoid lessons from the Brickkeeper. Now back to your regular scheduled scarecasts.
Well. Poor Mason thought he was building a mystery, but he was really just assembling his own disappearance. You see, builders, he had all the right equipment, but forgot the most important recording tip. Sometimes when you're documenting the monster, you become part of their collection. And that's all for tonight's installments of Bricking Screams. Tonight we brought to you 4 tales, 1 city, and too many shadows left unsearched. Like what you heard? Subscribe to the show, drop a spectral thumbs up, and summon us again by hitting that little bell icon. You'll never miss a scream. And don't forget to visit @MondayOlives on YouTube for behind-the-scenes builds, streams, and more twisted tales from the blocky beyond. And if you really want to dive deeper, catch Caverns and Colombos live every Tuesday night, 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern at the Long Tom Lounge on YouTube. Tell them the Brickkeeper sent you, and maybe they'll let you live through the night. I do hope you've enjoyed tonight's Scarecast, my fellow builders. Class dismissed. For now. But don't worry, there are always more eager students ready to learn. The applications keep coming, and I do so love expanding my curriculum. This is the Brickkeeper, clicking save on tonight's terror. Good night, and don't forget to check under your bed before you put your bricks down for the night.
Bricks.